Welcome back to another segment of Sherry's Metaphysical Corner. I'm your host, I'm Sherry. In the last year, I have talked intensely about the different modalities I use that help the human being and animals. So in today's episode, I thought I'd give a brief discussion on all 4 of the modalities that I use and the reason I chose not to stay with just one. So let's begin. The tools for energy balancing. So the first one is Reiki. The second one is the Melchizedek method, which uses light and color. Then there's Biofield Tuning with tuning forks. And then there's the emotion code with magnets. I started with that at the turn of the year. The reason I use more than one is because everyone's vibration is different, just like animals. So what may work for one may not work for someone else. So as we move along in our life, our systems change. We pick up drama energy from people and happenings around us, from colleagues, to families, to friends, your boss, the news when we watch TV. And it's not limited to just that. We read about the news, we see it on TV, we hear it on the radio, the internet, and that too has a frequency. So everything has a frequency to it, absolutely everything. That means sound, thoughts, words, objects, etc. Now, energy in our field is at least 6 feet wide. And believe it or not, the heart itself has a field of energy of its own, and it's 12 feet. So each person's energy vibration is unique to themselves. So it's for that reason I use a variety of tools. Again, what works for one may not work for someone else. The holistic work is all about finding the right fit. So what works for one, again, it may not work for someone else. So you need to have a variety. The whole point of these tools is to bring coherent balance to one's field of energy, releasing stuck, static energy, and it's weighing us down. And believe it or not, it weighs down our organs. And your organs also have a specific frequency that they need to run on for every human being. So as I mentioned earlier, absolutely everything has a frequency to it, including the organs. So let's get started. I'll give you a brief synopsis of each of the modalities and try to give you some demos. And then if you have any questions, you can certainly email me, energy4522@gmail.com. So let's get started with Reiki. And I think most everyone is familiar with this energy tool. Energy work such as Reiki and the Melchizedek method are tapping into doorways, believe it or not, to the higher realms, to divine source, universal knowledge, God, whatever you want to call your higher self. Reiki being 4th dimension frequency. The Melchizedek is 5th dimension frequency. And they open our consciousness to handle more and bring through lighter frequencies. And that's what's taking place. It's opening us up to higher and releasing. So the Reiki method was rediscovered in the mid-1800s by a Japanese-born Buddhist monk. His name was Dr. Mikao Yasui. And there are several types of Reiki, and there's some core Reiki methods that I'll give you here. One is Yasui Reiki, that's Western method. There's Karuna Reiki, there's Lighterian Reiki, and then there's Sekim Reiki. So being an energy, during an energy session, a practitioner taps into the 4th dimension energies to draw from. This is for Reiki. And places hands in strategic spots on the body to balance the body's frequency. And this helps relieve a person of what ails them and helps facilitate a change in their vibration. The Reiki method is a process, and it clears the life force or the chi, whatever you want to call it, and it helps it to flow in a healthy, natural way. It's gentle and will improve results of medical treatment. It aids to reduce side effects, shortens healing time, reduces stress, helps create well-being. So that is Reiki. I wanted to give you a little synopsis of that. So now as we move into the Melchizedek method, this is a little different altogether. It's light beings that actually lower their vibration and embrace us wherever we are on our journey. So the Melchizedek energy taps into the fifth dimension ascended master frequencies. That's a mouthful. This method of balancing uses a whole new formula for the body and is spiritual ascension. It uses a particular sequence called KL formula. Now that only means Cadman light formula. So the Cadman is another name for our light body. So the KL formula is represented by color and vibration frequencies and is organized by light beings. So the light body, or the Cadman, is made up of color, groups, and vibrations, each having a distinctive frequency. So this formula, I'm going to give it to you slowly. I'm going to break it down for you. So the first one is, part of this KL formula is 4 elements and 4 light body groups. So the first grouping is 4 elements, and we're all familiar with this. This is earth, fire, water, and air. Okay, so the next grouping is, it's 2 parts, the light body group. So these are going to be a little bit trickier to follow, so I've left a chart here for you to follow so you can better understand. So when you look at this chart, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about, because it's quite wide around the body. There's 33 layers to it, okay? So let me break it down while you're looking at the chart. The 4 light body groups now are made up of 8 layers, okay, each group is made up of 8 layers. This is known as the Cadman light body, or the hologram. Again, 33 layers in depth. And it completely encompasses the human body, around the entire body, including animals. We all have this. So the first group, this is the lower 8 layers, or these are your earthbound chakras. You're all familiar with chakras that go up and down the front and back of your spine. There's 8 of them. That expands out around your body, again, in layers. So there's your first. So there's your earth chakras, okay? And they call that the earth. Second grouping is your cosmic layers, and that's in the fire, okay? The third grouping is your divine layers, and that's in water. The fourth grouping is God-illuminated layers, and that's of the air, okay? So there's all the elements and the 4 groups. So whichever sequence is needed by a person or a group, I do this in groups as well, this comes through to help the body repair. It also, we don't need to put hands on when we're using the Melchizedek. It's a completely different formula. You can do this non-touching. That's why I do this remotely as well. This removes old paradigms down to a person's DNA patterns, healing itself on a deeper level. It activates and involves reconstruction of the original DNA. Now in these times, right now that we're all living in, of Earth ascension into 4th and 5th dimension frequencies, humans are ascending. We're expanding our consciousness and evolving quicker now. And the reason that we're expanding is because we're taking more in. So when you expand your consciousness, you make more room for more vibration to come through to handle. So this divine intelligence that comes through vibrations combines with the innate intelligence of the body, which has its own ability to imprint and heal itself using its own data and DNA. That's how it works. So in order for us to move through these higher dimensional frequencies and become more enlightened state of awareness, our DNA needs to be cleared and purified of irregular patterns that we pick up over time. Okay, so that was the Melchizedek. That's kind of a lot to it. But I'm going to show you something now with the Biofield Tuning, and this is going to be kind of interesting as well. This is with tuning forks. So as we start with this, Biofield Tuning, we use tuning forks with this, and it's using audible acoustic frequencies. It balances the body's electrical system. So again, we're electric beings. So there's a whole new host of things coming through. Again, our consciousness is expanding, so we can now grasp some of the stuff that we're teaching, or others are teaching as well. They lift one's vibration, clearing away stuck ripples of static energy out here in the field. created from our challenges that we have picked up through our lifetime that leave static charges and incoherence in this 6-foot field around us. So by bringing the distorted frequencies back to coherence, it integrates through the system, and then balance and entrainment is restored. So it's kind of interesting. Tuning forks originally began in the late 1600s, and it's very simple how this started. It was with a simple cutlery fork in England, and were further developed by John Shore in 1711 when he came out with the first tuning fork. So it's amazing how far back this goes. So most of the things that are out now went underground for a while, but they're not new. Some of the stuff is as old as the hills. The Reiki and the Melchizedek work were here 2,000 years ago. So this is not new. This teaching of Reiki is what Jesus was teaching. Not that I'm into religion of any kind, but that's what he was taught. Believe it or not, his teacher was Melchizedek and taught him how to do the healing techniques he was doing to heal people. So this is not new. This is old stuff. And these tools were also used, getting back to the tuning forks, as healing modalities with magnets, believe it or not. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So the energy field acts like a blueprint of the physical body. So anything that's going on out here, it's going to affect the organs in the body. So if it's going on here, eventually it's going to have a deterrence to the physical body. And sooner or later, we really need to have this taken care of, or it'll be depleting our energy field, which will create problems in the physical body. So with tuning forks, the tones actually change in pitch when we move it around the body in response to information that they encounter. So let me just give you a heads up. This is a 174, just so you can hear it. And these are useful in places that are congested, such as muscle knots and sciatic nerve. I also use several different ones, and I've only brought 2 or 3 today, so let me just show you this. This is a 174. This is actually a workhorse. We start with this. And we just move them around the body, towards the body like this. Hover over the chakra that we're working on, and comb out. This one is a 417. This is one of my favorites. Same way. And we do this at each of the 8 chakras. So I thought you'd find that interesting. And then a weighted fork, we use these to touch the physical body. You can't hear them, but we use these on muscle knots, sciatic nerve discomfort, things like that. Muscle knots, like we have 2 of these. So we'll usually, if there's a muscle knot here or here, wherever there's tension, we use 2 of them and release. But we can also use these in the field as well. When there's something that's really heavy and we can't get it out with the straight, we go back in with a weighted. We also use a Lemurian crystal to break up. So the Lemurian crystal, it's a pulsating crystal. I don't know if you can see it from here, but I'll hold it up. But a Lemurian crystal, this is actually a Lemurian seed crystal, and it helps break up distorted, stuck energy in the field. And they have a pulse. They actually have a pulse that runs through them, hence breaking up the distortion in the field. So what we do is we add a frequency through it. So let's just say I was working on the sacral, which is right in the center of the body, and I was out here. And there were a lot of ripples out here. I would use this to help break up some of that in that 6-foot field. Bring it in, and you can actually touch the physical body with it. And it'll break up distorted frequencies that are really, really heavy. And then we just go back in and clear it out. Because if there's something that heavy, you can't break it up. You can't get it to move. If it's that heavy, if it's been there for years and years and years, this will break it up into pieces. And then we go back in and pick up the pieces like a magnet with the tuning fork. They kind of act like a magnet when we do that, when we use this. So it's kind of interesting how these can work, breaking up distorted frequencies. So lastly, I'm going to talk a little bit about the emotion code work, and that is fascinating. That I started working with the beginning of the year. And this is like muscle testing. It's using magnets to locate and remove trapped emotion that's stuck in the field. It's trapped because we go through life and hold too much there. It's tapping into the subconscious when we use these, and a person or an animal can feel this. So the key understanding with the emotion code, as far as how it works, has to do with the mind itself. We divide the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind is where we live and make our daily decisions. The subconscious mind is the bulk of our intelligence, believe it or not. We only use 10% of the mind. That's the conscious mind. So normally, emotions are felt, then processed. Sometimes emotional energy becomes trapped and needs help to be released. This usually happens when the body is vulnerable or the emotion is very intense, like if somebody went through a divorce, they lost a job, if there was a death, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, trapped emotion can happen a bazillion different ways. So when one is feeling an intense emotion, what we're really feeling is a different vibration. A trapped emotion is a small ball of energy and can be as small as a baseball, but it can be as large as a cantaloupe. So let me just show you how this works just a little bit. I mean, it's any magnet can do the trick, but this is a Niken magnet and this one rolls. And what we're doing is locating it. We tune into a person, and we can, with kinesiology, there's several different ways. I don't know if you're familiar with kinesiology, but it's muscle testing. When they press on your arm, this means no. If it stays perfectly still, this means yes. Okay, so we do this with the log roll. At least that's what I use. And there's several different ways, but I use the log roll. So if it stays perfectly still, that's a yes. This is a no. So that's how we find what we need. And there's a flow chart to go with that. So I'll show you that in a minute. But this is just to show you what a magnet looks like. So you can use something very expensive you like. These magnets, this one is through Niken. It's a rolling magnet. And you use this on the body, up, over, and around, down the back, the meridian line, the governing meridian line. Or you can use just a refrigerator magnet, believe it or not. It makes no difference. You do not have to buy an expensive magnet. Any magnet will work, something off your refrigerator. So trapped emotions are usually under the skin surface, immune to the magnetic releasing until, and I'm going to emphasize the word until we go through this process. The way we identify a stuck emotion is from a flow chart. And this distinguishes what organ is disrupted as well. So I'm going to also leave you that to actually look at. So there's a flow chart that I'm leaving you here to visualize. You can follow along with me and you can kind of see where we find this information. So this will give you a better idea of how we locate trapped emotion. It then comes to the surface of the physical body, coming to consciousness. So let me just wait right here while you're looking at that. We use the, after we have found where it is, we've used muscle testing, we use the governing meridian line. Now the governing meridian line goes up over the top of the crown and down the back. And when we're working with someone, you can do it like that, up over, or you can do just down the back. Either way works, it's fine. You're still tapping into the largest reservoir. So trapped emotion can occur at any age and can cause inflammation, can cause pain, congestion, sabotage, reoccurring emotional distress, depression, anxiety. You get the idea. So each needs to be cleared one at a time. So trapped emotion can be released, and it's done with 3 rolls of a magnet. Again, using the governing meridian line, and this is where it is right here. And that's in Chinese medicine. This goes up over the crown and down the back. And the governing meridian, believe it or not, is the only one that we use in this work. So why do we use this? Well, in Chinese medicine, it's the largest reservoir of energy in the body. It connects to all the energy channels. And these, believe it or not, are your acupuncture meridians. So when energy in the form of a magnet enters the field of the governing meridian line, again, up the front, down the back, energy instantly flows to all other meridian lines in the body. We can only use our fingertips to do this. They're magnetized, so it doesn't have to be limited to just a magnet. It's magnets, it's energy. So when we use this, it influences and is felt by everyone. That's why we like the magnets. They're very powerful, and they are very good carriers for the intention. Very powerful. Magnets magnify thought intention to release trapped emotion, and the practitioner always focuses on intention of positivity and love. That's how it works. You completely leave your ego out of it. The subconscious mind is like a holographic computer, believe it or not. It archives absolutely everything that happens to us in our life. It knows everything about us. That's why we tap into the subconscious. That's your higher self. That's your authentic self. That knows absolutely everything about us. And this being the authentic mind, it knows all of these things down to the cellular level. So there's no hiding it, there's no lying, there's no ego. It's direct. So think of emotional baggage like dragging a suitcase filled with rocks. Some of it from our own life, but some can be inherited from our ancestors. Now let me just give you another tidbit of information. We can inherit trapped emotion from our ancestors, and it can go back many generations. We can actually release that from however many generations we go back. I mean, I've worked on people and released as far back as 5 generations. So each generation is about 25 years is what we categorize. We can go back 5 generations. At least we can go back more than that, but I've gone back 5. And every single person that was involved in that inherited line that got inherited emotions, trapped, they're all released. Even if they've passed, they're all released from that thread. It's amazing how these magnets work. So the authentic higher self, or again, your subconscious, knows everything about a human being. It knows your thoughts, your illnesses, it knows everything about you. So what we're all trying to do in our lifetime is manifest perfection, abundance, love, success. Aren't we all trying to do that? It's this baggage or the trapped energy that we're dragging around that's preventing us from doing that. So sometimes we can't do it alone and we just need an assist to release the stuck energy. The emotion code is really just a simple way to cut loose from the suitcases full of rocks. I like that analogy. Dr. Bradley Nelson, the founder of this, as a matter of fact, this isn't my book, this is his, but I just wanted to show it to you. He's amazing. And he's the founder of this, and he uses that analogy of dragging around suitcases full of rocks. But you can certainly read this book yourself, The Emotion Code. He's amazing, Dr. Bradley Nelson. He's the founder of that, and he's been using this technique for the last 25 or 30 years, and it's been amazingly effective. So studies have shown that, just now we are realizing that our emotional baggage is really the underlying reason for the symptoms we suffer from, or at the very least, what's weighing us down. And it weighs on our organs. And the underlying reason for many of the problems, like depression, anxieties, phobias, panic attacks, traumas, eating disorders, PTSD, and many more. There's a host. Right now, there are about 2,500 certified emotion code practitioners around the globe using this magnet technique. It's just wonderful. It's just helped a lot of people. Really has helped to release trapped emotions. So, there you have it. There's the 4 modalities that I work with, because human beings are all so unique, like animals. No one is the same as another. So it works for everybody. You just have to find the right tool that works for you. So it's for that reason I use different modalities. Well, I think we're running out of time. I'm getting the high sign. So I hope that you found this educational. At the very least, I hope you found it interesting anyway. So again, if you have any questions, you can certainly email me at energy4522@gmail.com or go to my website, www.energyworkstudio.com. 1 S between work and studio. So till next time, be well, stay tuned, stay connected. Bye for now.